how we're gonna make this look high tech, but it's just like pixels. And you're flying through pixels, and I'm like, holy fuck, why is everybody thinking this is so awesome looking? And I'm like, what? No, stop.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Streaming Synergy. Today, I have TheBladeMartial with me yet again, and also we have special guest, PoWWarPig. How you doing tonight, pal?
You introduced Blade first.
I know.
What's up?
Blade's been here. Anyway, the topics we're going to cover, we're just going to spitball gaming while we've grown up. Starting with the oldies, working our way up. Things that stood out to us, held a special place for us, whether it was because it was a great game or we just have a lot of memories tied with it. So for example, starting off, I don't know when you guys officially got into gaming or anything like that, but like I've dabbled. I probably didn't get hardcore into it until like the Super Nintendo area, but growing up, I remember dabbling with like the Atari, that tank game, Combat. Had to look up the name. I remember the look, didn't remember the name, so I had to look that up. And then going from there, I did do a lot of on and off, like I think it was just Super Mario Bros. 3 on like regular Nintendo. And that only stands out to me because I thought my mom was like a genius at that game. Because I'd be playing that and then it'd get to like the memory game and my mom would pull out like sheets where she had traced the matches and she'd put it on that big old box TV and it would fucking match up. And I'm like, oh my God, how do you have the answers? It's like a strategy guide before the strategy guides came out. But yeah, how about you guys? Like, what's the first area of gaming that you guys recall? I'll start with you, Blade.
I don't remember the year, but I do remember it was on a 286 PC, and it was a game called Caverns of Gink, G-I-N-K. It was some monochrome insanity from the early 80s, where you basically had to like, it was a platforming game. Like there's like lines that you had to jump onto or land on. And in order to beat the level, you had to cover every square inch on the map as far as like where the platforms were. And like that is the very first game I remember playing as a kid.
Yeah, I don't even remember that. What about you, pal? What did you first start out with?
Atari. Centipede. That was the go-to family. Like at night, we'd sit down and play. Like we'd keep track of high score basically, because that's what you did in the arcades. You know, you ranked yourself out in the arcades at that time of your top. Who had top score was the king of the arcade. So depending on what game it was, so we'd play Centipede and do that. And I was maybe like 3 years old, probably.
Wow,
somewhere around there. But that's what that, and then was Dig Dug on Atari? Thank you.
Yeah, now I'm scratching. Computer. Yeah, I think that was computer and NES. I don't remember if it was or wasn't on Atari.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember Frogger and Space Invaders and shit like that. But Atari was definitely. Well, we have like one of those retro Ataris that I got for my kids. And what's really funny is when my son goes from playing a Switch and stuff, and he'll run over and he'll play the Atari, and I'm like, why? And he's like, I like it because the games are a lot harder. He likes playing the older systems because of the challenge in them, and I find that really interesting.
Yeah, they were hard as hell.
Broken too, but people had to get through it. There was no DLC pack.
So, all right, well, taking that one, Pow, what was the game that bowed you low? What was the game that you had the toughest time getting through?
Shit.
Yeah, that's rough.
It probably had to be something stupid like Contra.
That was rough.
That or like one of the Double Dragons. I think it was the third one was really half-assed put together.
Yeah. What about you, Ark? What was your I'm laid low?
The first controller breaking game. I don't know. I'd probably have to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, the water level.
That one level. It's just that level. That's the only one I even remember pissing me off. It's just that level, dude. And then
oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think back then I didn't have that completionist in me, so I just dabbled with games. It didn't matter how far I got with them. But yeah, Turtles was the one that just you never got past that level. Any other game you play, you'd at least make some progress, but Turtles,
right?
Fucking never.
Mine was Wizardry for the NES. That was, I think to this day, it still holds like some kind of a record for being one of the most difficult US released games on Nintendo. And that thing was just, we broke the front plate where the cartridge for the NES goes. Oh yeah, that was a controller throw. That thing just shattered into little pieces. Fuck this game. I hate this. It's impossible. 20 minutes later.
Yep. Every damn
Ninja
time.
Turtles was a hard one. And Ninja Turtles was broken though.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles was that, and Battletoads. Like, just come on.
I remember just the I think it was Super Nintendo Battletoads, the one with the racing level where you're hopping over all the fucking barricades.
Yep.
That always stands out to me. What about Super Nintendo? Do you guys have a huge... I had probably my biggest start to gaming was playing everything on Super Nintendo.
Man, for me, it was NES. NES was really where I grew into my gaming threads. But yeah, Super Nintendo, I definitely spent an inordinate amount of time jumping from game to game to game. My all-time favorite game of all consoles and everything is a Super Nintendo game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What game is that for you, pal?
Super
like you
Nintendo.
Had one in mind.
There was a couple that stood out on Super Nintendo that really hit the mark. Donkey Kong Country, Mortal Kombat 2, Killer Instinct. It was a lot of first of long series. Mario Kart, WWF Monday Night Raw.
Oh shit!
I used to love beating the snot out of people on that with the chairs and stuff and the buckets. It had the Razor Ramon.
Yo.
What else was on
overweight
there? Oh, Legends of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites ever.
I think those are probably the top, like, biggest standouts on Super Nintendo until the bazooka thing came.
The Super Scope. Oh my god. Yes, the Super Scope. Oh, I spent 6 months convincing my parents to buy that for me for Christmas or a birthday or something like that. I played 2 games for maybe a week. And then I had to like keep pulling it out and acting like I was playing it in order to not get my ass beat for not playing it anymore.
What was that game? Wings or something? Pilot Wings.
Yeah, there was Pilot Wings, yeah.
That was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't know. I like Super Nintendo. For me, is probably the biggest standout because it was such a jump from Nintendo to that, and it innovated a lot of different franchises. Granted, PlayStation and stuff was like a huge jump after, which is why PlayStation is what it is. But like Super Nintendo was just destroying Sega, which they ended up, how many times did Sega go under?
Yeah.
That was all, they were direct competition to each other. And then once Sony dropped the PlayStation, then pretty much the era ended for Super Nintendo. They had to advance up to an N64.
Yeah. Yeah, with Super Nintendo, there's a lot of games I really liked. Too many, because it was one of those, back in those days, you would go to, the video store, you'd see all the selections they have there, and that would make or break, at least for me, a lot of what I played, because I'd go there with my little brother, and we'd look around, and there's like Joe and Mac, the caveman game. We always had to get like a 2-player game.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Yeah, so like that would determine a lot of what we got. Or if you go there and they had such a, almost like they had one copy of every game, at least where we were.
Yeah.
So like you'd go in, and if your favorite game or the game you were excited for was out, you'd have to make a split, decision to get something else. So I feel like I got to play a lot of different Super Nintendo games just because of that aspect. And then I don't know if you guys like delved into it much, but like later on, learning about like emulators and ROMs, I feel like gave Super Nintendo a return as a big moment into my life. So like I got into playing even like foreign games that got translated that way.
Yeah.
That I never got my hands on or never saw like in a store or whatever. Sega. I really liked Sega, but it was like 5 games or something like that they really stood out, but it was just those 5 games that I was aware of. And it'd be like
Clay
Sonic
Fighter.
and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved Clay Fighter. Yes, I totally forgot about that.
My first Mortal Kombat moment was on a Sega Genesis, and I remember my little mind was just completely blown by that game.
Yeah. Sega delivered with Mortal Kombat, the first one, and then when Mortal Kombat 2 dropped, though, I remember waiting at like Ames store for like the drop, and man, I played the shit out of that.
Man, so many memories.
Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing back and forth here, but Ark, what was your SNES? You said Joe and Mac, but what else was there for you? Like, what was your pivotal games for SNES?
It's tough. My favorite of all time, I'd probably have to say it would either be Chrono Trigger, but I don't know. It's either Chrono Trigger or A Link to the Past, Zelda. They're so hand in hand. I've beaten them on Super Nintendo, and then I got them for Game Boy Advance like years later, beat it on that as well. There was even, Chrono Trigger re-released on PlayStation, and I beat it again on there. So like those ones stood out, but there was a lot, man. There was like Secret of Mana. I was like super into Secret of Mana. That was like a 3-player, action type of game. So I was like really into that. I mean, I played.
Did you ever get into Secret of Evermore, which was the less?
I think I did. Is that the one with the blonde boy with the little dog?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I dabbled with it. I didn't know a lot about it. Earthbound, that's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Earthbound was big to me because it seemed like the first like massive RPG that I could never beat. It felt like it went on forever and ever and ever. But yeah, there's even stupid games I remember playing a lot of. There was like this, what the hell was it? Like Tiny Toons Olympics fucking game where you just did challenges, almost like the Mortal Kombat Test of Might.
Yep.
It was a whole game around that type of shit. But yeah, there was just so many. What was that? Fire Emblem, I think old games started Super Nintendo back then.
Breath of Fire.
Yes.
Breath of Fire started
1
on
and
SNES.
2, I was really into. But what about after that? Like, did you guys get into Game Boy at all by chance?
For me, it was just Tetris. Like, I was crack hooked on Tetris for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, Tetris was my little, like, I can drop out for 10, 15 minutes. I've got a break from school or a break at, when I was working, even when I was like 16, and I think Game Boy Color was out at that point in time. I mean, I was still rocking the old 400 AA batteries in my backpack just in case I ran out of juice.
Mm-hmm. I had a Game Boy, but I had the green screen with the attachment of a light and a magnifier.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have the side speakers as well?
I had the whole. It was like basically carrying around a giant monitor.
Yeah.
It was kind of dumb, but Bill and Ted's Adventure that was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Mario on that was amazing. Tetris was also amazing. They were all good go-tos. I think those are only 3 that I really remember sinking time into. It was mostly for car rides. It was my parents realized that, wow, this keeps kids quiet.
Yeah.
So
or like going to school and showing off. Like not really playing a lot, but just being like, look, I have one of these.
Yeah.
Not where I lived. Not where I lived.
Oh wow. You get your shit stolen that way?
If you wanted to keep it, you didn't bring shit like that to school.
That's fair. With Game Boy, I played a lot, but it was very narrow. I was very big on like the Pokemon whole thing, Pokemon Red and Blue, learning all the cheats. I don't even know how I learned cheats back then. I think it was just like word of mouth back in those days.
Nintendo Power and word of mouth. Like that was all that existed at that point in time. Well, the
Game Pro magazine.
Yeah, Game Pro.
I had subscriptions for that.
I never got those. I used to be jealous because I'd go to my friends' houses and they'd have stacks, and I'd be like fucking looking through those for hours before I had to go home, retain all the knowledge.
We used to quiz each other on the Mortal Kombat 2 moves, because like when Mortal Kombat 2 was coming, that was probably one of the biggest, like, can't like underplay it at all. It's probably the biggest release on Super Nintendo. When you go back and look at how much money and promotion, controversy, and everything was around that game.
Yeah,
it was every book for about a year from Game Pro and even Nintendo magazine had Mortal Kombat 2 articles in it because it's sold.
Yeah.
Even if it was only a little article or a little blip, they still would. It was always a cover. It was like the whole year was every cover was like more and more Mortal Kombat 2. So my buddies would sit around and we would like, who are we going to play? This is going to be my character that I'm into. So you memorize all the buttons and then we'd like have flashcards. Like, all right, boom. So fucking nerds, you know?
And I remember being blown away with like the graphics of that too. It was, primarily Mortal Kombat because I kept doing like the double take. Like, are those real people? They have real people in video games now? Like, what the hell's going on? And then Clay Fighter, I always thought Clay Fighter was like this amazing looking game just because the graphics were so different, that like claymation. Same with
Killer Instinct.
Yeah. Had that like
Killer
3D
Instinct.
before its time look to it. Yeah. What was that other one?
Turtles in Time.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yep. Oh, see, I did not.
That was good.
I think I was way late to the game on Turtles in Time on console, but in the local arcade near where I live.
Yeah, it was big.
That was like 3 weeks of saving allowance and then going all out hardcore for like an hour. And then I'm out. All right, I'm dead and I'm out of money. Damn it.
Yep.
I had that with the multi-tap, so you could play with up to 4 players.
Yeah.
And that was like back in the times. My mom used to kick our ass at these games. So like we'd get her in there and she'd carry us through the levels. Me and my brother would be dying left and right, but she'd be progressing through the story. Crazy, crazy times.
All right, so like, okay, let's bump up a generation. So you started, Pal mentioned N64's revolution and PSX's revolution, but like, what about? So in the PSX time frame, there was the PlayStation, there was Dreamcast, N64. Like, what was your guys' poison back in that generation of home consoles?
With that, I actually started off with PlayStation first, which was weird. All my friends had a 64, but I had a PlayStation. And I don't even know how I got the games that I had, but I had like Final Fantasy VIII as like one of the first games, Parasite Eve. I had a bunch of weird games.
Shit.
Yeah,
Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
Parasite Eve. Yeah.
I honestly don't even know how I had them, but that's what I was working with. And like, Legend of Dragoon, that's like top 3 PS1 games.
That was an amazing game.
Yeah. And I was hard into those while everybody else was doing like Ocarina of Time and that on the 64. I got there eventually, but that's where I started off with. What about you, Pow?
I had to put it in chat. The Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle for Nintendo.
Oh my god!
Oh, wow,
that was the same. Was that the same one? The same gameplay as like the DuckTales and
no, DuckTales was more of a platformer.
Right.
The Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle, which the DuckTales one was awesome as well. I loved that game. But the Crazy Castle was like 100 levels and you basically had a puzzle in each level to beat the villain that you had to figure out the puzzle like as you jumped around the map and did. It was really crazy, but super addictive. Even as a kid, I can remember that being very addictive of a game. It was really good.
I don't even think I got to try that.
It's really good. For PS1,
unless you were more of a 64 guy or something.
No, actually, I was more PlayStation. My neighbors had the 64, so I just play it there. Shit, Destruction Derby when PlayStation first launched, Destruction Derby was like a default game. Resident Evil, first one. I remember that was one of the sole reasons why I wanted a PlayStation.
That was one of the very first games that scared the living shit out of me.
I remember yeah.
That the dog jumping through the window. Whoa.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh,
they did a blip in
back then.
A GamePro magazine or a Nintendo magazine. It was one of them. They had just this little tiny paragraph on the side. That's probably like 14 at the time, 15 maybe. And I just remember seeing it. And I was like, what's this all Resident Evil thing? So I read the little article and it was talking about them interviewing these Japanese dudes. They were making a horror film game that was going to be like a movie that you played. And I was like, this sounds pretty fucking cool. It was super ambitious for back then, but I had as time got closer, they started getting more and more press on it and people got hyped. But I remember trying to play. I could get about 6 hours in before I died. I didn't have a memory card with my PlayStation. I couldn't afford one.
I remember those days.
Yeah. So I'd play until I lost and then I'd just turn it off because there was like half a day just playing Resident Evil. But, yeah, Destruction Derby, Resident Evil, Loaded and Reload, a top-down shooter.
Yeah.
We forgot Smash TV on Super Nintendo.
Oh my god!
Oh, shit, yeah. Oh man,
it's a classic.
Super Smash TV was. Oh lord. So as soon as you said was it Destruction Derby, I immediately remembered Twisted Metal.
That's what I was thinking
too.
Yeah,
I had completely forgotten about both of those games.
Yeah, yeah. Twisted Metal on PlayStation was that probably became the biggest staple because I remember going to my friends' houses on the weekends, just staying the night, and we just get wicked fucked up and play that like all weekend.
Yeah,
that was the goal.
I think Rage. Road Rage, Roadkill,
Road Rash,
Road Rash 3D.
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Yep. I remember that too. Damn.
Yep. That was about the last game I played on my PlayStation 2, I think.
Yeah.
That was the last time I really was like into a console before I got into PC gaming. Road Rash 3D was my go-to game.
Damn.
That was a good game. I remember that on Genesis. The first one was on Genesis.
That's the one. Yeah. That's where I first played it. They had like a really new one. I think within like the last 5 years or something like that. It was, I don't know. You can't capture how nice that was back in the day because now it gets boring. There's only so much you could do.
Yeah. Now we complain about the lack of content back, we're 25 years ago. We were like, oh my God, there's 5 levels? What?
Yeah, I have to like pull it. I'd have to open Steam up, but there is one on Steam that's like a game that they played homage to the Road Rash series. It's a little bit more violent. It's like the same situation. It is mega fun. Like I streamed and played it a few times, and people were like, "What is this?" I'm like, it was fucking awesome. Like
it's really good. Childhood reincarnated. Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, with those, it's being mentioned like the whole Sega CD, Sega Saturn, that whole thing. I skimmed over those because I don't know if you guys had access to playing those, but
no, dude, that shit was so expensive. That,
I got to play it like 2 or 3 times ever at a friend's house. That was about it.
Yeah, that was too rich for my neck of the woods. Nobody in my area or any of my friends could afford a CD or the Saturn, the CD, or the 32.
There's one game I remembered. It was some kind of like kidnapping game with real actors, and I just remember moments of it. Like you had to somehow get killers in a room and lock them in or something. And I remember one scene of like real people, a girl running out of a room.
It was something Mansion,
maybe. And like the door opened and there's like this Rambo looking dude and he gets gunned down by like the robbers or whatever and they take the girl. That's like all I remember. That actually sounds like it might be that.
What was it?
Night Trap. That sounds really familiar. It might have been that.
Yeah.
I messed with it. I couldn't even figure out how to play. I didn't know how to like move around and lock people in the rooms or anything.
So that actually reminds me, because I think Night Trap had the same control schema as Dragon's Lair.
Maybe.
I
don't think I got to play
that
it.
ring
I
anybody's
didn't play
bill?
that either.
Yeah.
I heard of it.
It was based off of Don Bluth's animation, where you'd get like little flashes on the side of a screen, and it would tell you like move up, move to the right, press your sword button or something along those lines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that was the same type of control scheme. I remember playing the hell out of that game. But yeah, Night Trap. Like my parents were super religious and super conservative, so like The Simpsons was outlawed in my household. So there was a lot of stuff I missed out on.
I would have been outlawed in your house.
You're probably still outlawed in my house.
I had no issues with my parents being picky about anything I played until, for some reason, Diablo 1. That's where the conflict came in. And it was I think it was a moment in time with my stepfather. Like, he was just gung-ho about me not having that game or playing that game. Other than that, no conflicts ever. Mom didn't care. Play whatever. She played Turok with me. Like,
she was better at most of the games than you were.
To be fair, yeah. After like 64, I blew her away. She quit. She moved on, became an adult. But until then, yeah.
What were you saying, pal?
My parents didn't. I don't think they didn't really worry or care. So I was free to do whatever I wanted as long as cops weren't bringing me home. So didn't matter what I played, listened to, or did. I mean, as you can see, the result of all of that it's right here. So
in all that glory,
yeah. But I mean,
all right, so
a nerd, man. No.
If we move away from the PSX generation and we start bouncing into Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, like what was your guys' bread and butter over there?
I'll let
Unreal Tournament. PlayStation 2
Tournament.
Bringing Unreal Tournament to console was a big door opening situation. I mean, we went past one of the biggest titles ever in the history to kind of open the door to what multiplayer turned into online, like what a lot of Foundation was, which happened to be GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Because
that
people playing together in a shooter situation, it was like, it wasn't Quake, it wasn't that, but it was like the original idea and concept of getting people together. That was kind of an innovation in the whole to where we're at now. So
yeah, I spent a lot of time with GoldenEye.
Fuck Odd Job.
I remember the one level we always played where one person can start up in the ventilation and you drop down into the bathroom and go out. I just remember playing that level on repeat, fucking over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the dam?
I don't think so. Did it open out into the dam? Maybe.
I don't know. I can't remember that far back.
Yeah, I just remember those like key moments. And then like, what was that gun? The P9000. I don't know.
The P90?
Maybe. But you could like shoot through the doors. And I remember people getting like really pissed off about that. Like, you just shoot through the doors and kill people.
Don't stand in front of the door.
Yeah, the N64 still like that. That's still, we had some good titles on that too, though.
Oh yeah,
and the GameCube.
I love the GameCube.
GameCube was my one. Thank God I had that when the power, like, I didn't have internet for probably like 2-3 weeks, and they delivered with the GameCube because it had the X-Men, the 2 different like RPG top downs that were
Legends, X-Men Legends?
Yeah, Legends, and I think X-Men Apocalypse or something.
Yeah.
And I played the shit out of those. And I beat them both in the 2-week time period. I was like, wow, why did I not play these sooner? But, and the new Mario Kart 64.
That was, from the 64 era, Mario Kart 64 was the game I spent the most amount of time playing over and over again.
Smash Bros.
That other game with was it Wipeout? But you had like the skids.
Wipeout was on PlayStation 1. Yeah.
No, not Wipeout. Wipeout was that fast-paced racing game with like the futuristic. Yeah, no, I'm talking about the one. It was on N64. It was like you had the fucking what are those?
Jet skis.
Jet skis. Yeah.
Jet Moto.
That was a big one when it launched. That was like, and of course Mario 64, which they got that 3-pack coming out for the Switch.
Yeah, that game was really
Buying
really
that
good.
shit up.
There was a lot of like side games in there too that were like really really good.
Yeah, Dreamcast got eaten up.
Yeah, that blew right past
couldn't
me.
compete.
So I was torn on like what was my seminal N64 game. I mean, Mario Kart 64 really was in tried and true the game that I would happily spin up right now, sit down and start playing. But Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh man, wasn't that the official last game made for 64?
That I don't know, but it was Rare.
Yeah, I think it was the official last one if I remember.
Rare, the studio Rare was the one that did it. But the first boss you fight is a giant turd with corn teeth, and you defeat him by throwing toilet paper at him. I mean, that's
no, that was
brilliant.
Like the first game I remember that like the vulgarity was pushing like the rated R in a game.
Yep.
I think it starts out with like his bunny girlfriend's like bending over doing yoga or some shit. Oh man, that's such a good game. You hit
if
the
you
scarecrow,
have the
Xbox,
if you have the Xbox Game Pass on and an actual Xbox, the Rare collection, the Conker's Bad Fur Day exists as a playable Xbox One game nowadays.
Nice.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh man, yeah. There was a lot with that. They also had like the attachments. You could do like, what was it? The Super Game Boy. You plug that into a 64, put your Game Boy games on the screen. I remember that being like a huge thing for me.
Oh my god, we haven't talked about Star Fox or Star Fox 64.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh my god, you know why? No, just kidding.
They're games that I think there's a lot of games that it was my friends that really got me into them. Like Star Fox, I probably never would have played by myself, but being with my friends and seeing them like taking turns at it, seeing how far they could go, got me into that whole thing.
Yeah, and I could see why Star Fox is big though, because it came out on that retro system that we have. Like we got the retro Super Nintendo and the retro Atari, and my son got a hold of the Star Fox on the retro system, and he played it until he beat it. He fucking loved it, and I'm like, I'm looking at it going, I want to puke looking at this. This is terrible. Like I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. I don't mind that people enjoy things that I don't like. It's not cutting it down. I was just like, this is so bad. But like, and it was like, how we're gonna make this look high tech, but it's just like pixels, and you're flying through pixels, and I'm like, holy fuck! Why is everybody thinking this is so awesome looking? And I'm like, what? No, stop.
It was revolutionary, creating a truth appearing 3D world and movement in a 3D world before the Virtua Fighter era really took shape.
Oh my god.
Is that what the headband
thing? That's how I'll knock away your hatred of Star Fox's imagery, and I'll talk about the Virtua Fighter instead.
So bad as well.
It was terrible. Oh my god, it was impossible to play that game, but it was revolutionary in the fighter world.
Oh yeah, those games like they opened the window to a whole new way of looking at an arena fighter. Instead of like the 2D, you got the
old Street Fighter world. Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat tried their hand at that too. They did a version that was actually really fucking good, but it wasn't all that like blocky pixel characters and stuff. I can't remember which Mortal Kombat was like 4 or some shit.
I think it was 4. Is that the one where they had weapons too? Like that was a first big...
Maybe.
Wasn't there a Sub-Zero
Super Nintendo?
Game?
That game was fucking hard, dude. Sub-Zero... Was it Quest or... No. But yeah, it
to
was
the
hard as
internet.
hell, dude.
I'm actually gonna have to go Google that now.
But yeah, there was.
But
I'm pretty sure it was Super Nintendo.
Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, which was PlayStation 1.
That was PlayStation 1?
It was PlayStation 1 and N64.
Wow.
I think when did Dreamcast came out? I had a Dreamcast because I had to get it for House of the Dead 2. That's my go-to in the arcade for a while. Besides the X-Men game, the one that had the 4-player, you could do like Colossus, Wolverine. I think you could play Storm.
Yeah.
Maybe Cyclops. Maybe it was 5, and I think you had Nightcrawler too. I'm not sure. Maybe he wasn't in that one, but it was just like a battle of you. Like it was kind of like the Ninja Turtle game, but it was X-Men, and it was nothing but Sentinels everywhere. It was fucking amazing.
Was it Jubilee?
No,
Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Cyclops. Colossus was one. I know what you're talking about because like The Simpsons came out with like a 5-player arcade machine as well.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I played an X-Men one. I think I feel like it was Sega Genesis, but it might have been Super Nintendo. That one was also hard. You do like Wolverine and run up the walls, 2D. But those remind me of the Avengers. I think on Super Nintendo was like multiplayer. It's kind of like the Spider-Man and Venom game as well.
Ooh,
it had 6 players on it. Look at that.
Holy shit.
Oh, it's only like $5,000.
That's easy.
I mean, we can just pool in our money right now, right? And
I'm a former Mixer partner. I can buy that straight up if they ever paid me.
Oh man.
Oh, there's your character. So it is Storm, Nightcrawler.
Yep. Yeah. They're all there. I think we nailed it.
No,
Silver Surfer. Was Silver Surfer on that?
I think he was one of the bosses, was he?
Oh, the silver guy is Colossus.
Yeah, Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, and then is that either Kitty Pryde or...
It might be Jubilee.
Jubilee, yeah, it's one of the two.
Doesn't matter. That right there ate so much money.
Oh my god.
The things I would do to get that in my house. Put it in my bedroom.
There's a barcade here in Phoenix, Arizona. That as long as you're drinking or eating something, all of the arcade machines are free.
Oh man!
And they have that arcade game there.
That sounds like a perfect time.
Oh, like I'm like, oh yeah, of course, I'll buy a couple of beers and yeah, it'll be great. Don't worry about it. And about 2 hours later, I'm drunk texting my wife, "Hey, I'm gonna need a ride. Can you come pick me up?"
That game is so oh man, I love that game. As a kid,
that was an
growing
amazing
up with comic books. That right there was like the closest I could get to like living my fantasy out, and until the new Marvel Cinematic Universe. But you know, we're talking early 90s. Yeah. It's a lot of nostalgia with that too, because my best friend that I grew up with, Derek Sams, I found out in like 2000 or no, back in, it was like 2008 or so. I found out he passed away. So that was like our thing when we went to the arcade and shit, because we collected our comic books. We watched the X-Men show every weekend, Saturday morning cartoons. So
best music ever, man. It's so good. Should be my starting music on here. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was big time into comics. I still am, to be fair, but yeah.
I feel like it's a lot. It's starting to lose its like umph because we have all this like digital shit.
Yeah.
That kids being able to like actually get that physical, like they don't see it as a collector's anymore. They don't see that like that sense of I have this and someone might not. And you just go online and pull the books up.
Yep. I feel that too. Though it is pretty convenient if you get like the comic apps, the way it jumps to like all the scenes. It's super, super convenient. But yeah, it's like a dying thing. But to be fair, the comic companies themselves aren't helping. Every issue is changing continuity. Yeah.
Well, and
you
the
know
fact
what they say.
What do they say? What are they saying?
Get woke, go broke.
my beef with comics these days is it's the cost.
Yeah, they
like
are cheap.
$5-6 for a single issue, like
of like 10 pages or some shit.
Like I just, yeah,
it's definitely not
I don't
easy.
think that's that bad. Maybe the odd one out.
No,
here.
and it's. I don't think it's terrible, but as coming from a kid who was paying, 75 cents for his original issues.
How much were you paying for gas when you first started driving?
98 cents.
Yeah. How much were you paying for bread, milk?
Yeah.
Then cost goes up. People get paid more. Minimum wage was only $5 when I started working. So,
that's
like
true.
with the increase of all of that, the increase of the cost of products. So theoretically, it's still like the same dollar for dollar, tit for tat there. It's just,
I think it's tough.
It's a larger number. That's
because like to get a whole comic story, it's like what? Fucking multiple issues. So it's one of those like, do you want to go in and buy part 1 of the story, or do you want to go in and buy the whole collection of 10 comics to finish the story?
10.
I know it gets crazy. Issue Spider-Man 297.
Yeah.
And
then there's Spectacular Spider-Man, and then the Web of Spider-Man, and Spider-Gwen.
The completionist part of me goes, fuck it.
But you're connected. You're bonded into those characters.
For sure.
So it's like it's a value system. I don't think the cost is what's killing it or hurting it, really. Because when you look at the art that's in those things and stuff too, just the appreciation for the work.
Oh yeah.
Is
oh
gorgeous.
my god.
And they get better and better too.
There are some. I mean, I we're gonna completely derail this arc. Tough shit. All right. So I got really into comic collecting when this would have been like 87, 88 when I got into it. And when Image Comics launched. I was already a massive Jim Lee and an Eric Larson fan and a Todd McFarlane fan. I mean, especially McFarlane with his work on Spider-Man, creating Venom. I mean, we could talk about Rob Liefeld, but Homeboy still can't draw feet, so there's that. But that echelon, that time frame of comic collecting was absolutely massive because you had Valiant, DC, Marvel, Image, Vertigo. I mean, you had huge players on the field, and everybody was stealing up the best artists and writers where they could after the successes of McFarlane and Frank Miller, Batman Year One. I mean, his contributions to the comic writing world were to this day difficult to hold a candle to that flame, but I think part of me is kind of stuck in that era. Like I'm not as interested in modern comic tellings or the story arcs these days as I was back in the really late 80s, early 90s. Like that's that era that I think I'm stuck there. It's hard for me to let go of that.
I'll get you some good new ones. Bat Metal, man. Bat Metal. That's all I'll say. So good.
I don't know. I understand what he's saying because I feel like I'm kind of on the same page with that. But I'm trying to look at it as to why I'm like that. And I'm under the belief that the reason why I'm not so into the comics anymore is one, I'm not actively trying to collect them or look at them or anything because I have other things to do.
Yeah.
I'm way more occupied and my hobbies shifted. So the hobby of like getting comics and enjoying the stories and living into them because my life was limited. Internet wasn't there. We didn't have it. Things like that. So there was like, you go home and play with your toys, you play some video games, you go meet up with your friends, you bring your comics over and you're like, yeah, I got this one and this one this week. What did you get? It's like, it was a social thing. It was what we were doing. But now it's like, let me just get online and play some fucking video games. Or be like, hey, did you watch the new Marvel movie? I don't need to buy a comic. I got the movies. So I just see like the access of like all this stuff that we have now is like some things are going to lose their edge and their umph. It don't matter because the stories are still there. They're still really good, and they keep them based on a lot of life issues and things that are going on. They're relatable.
Yeah. So I have two-part questions for you guys. So first part is do or does your significant others have a working understanding of comic history?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Debatable. Yeah.
Second question. How many of the three of us have been in a Marvel or a DC movie and the significant other does this?
Yep.
What the fuck is going on?
I get I have to work up to being allowed to like watch a superhero movie. Like, you ready for this? It's gonna happen. Then eye rolls, and then I work at it, and it happens.
She knows, but then she doesn't know. So it's like, like she knows of. It's like, oh, I know that person's name. I know who they are, but I don't know about them type thing. Right. And that's where like, she'd look at me and be like, well, was this one like a bad? This is going to be really bad. And I'm like, yeah, kind of a little bit of detail because we would go out to eat after, and I would have to explain what's probably going to happen. But
yeah.
Well, when like Iron Man 3's trailers came out, and Sir Ben Kingsley was the Mandarin. I was going to say the Manchurian candidate, and that wasn't right. I'm like freaking out with excitement, and then we went and saw the movie in the theater, and I was like,
"What did they do to him?
What the fuck? They've murdered my baby. What have they done to my baby?"
Yeah, I was disappointed with that too.
Yeah, that was a mistake. That was a misstep on their part.
Well, I mean, now that they've got Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings coming,
yeah, we'll see.
Let's hope they retcon and fix the issues that they've created.
Man, comics. The thing that keeps me in the loop with comics now, the only reason I know significantly way more than I probably should, is because where I work for 10 hours a day, I get to like listen to either music or audiobooks or whatever. And there's a few YouTube channels that do like full, almost like page by page, like they're reading it to you type of things. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of times where, working there for years, I have way too much time. I'm looking for too many things to keep a playlist going. And I do the comic thing now. So there's a lot of days where I get caught up on like everything in existence. And I'll say the stories nowadays are definitely way better than they used to be, but they're a lot more complex now. Back in the day, it was like you could read the front cover of a comic and you'd grasp the entire concept. You'd be like, oh, clone of Spider-Man. He's going to fight a clone. That's all you need to know. Nothing else matters.
It's Spider-Man, so he's going to win. It's okay. Yeah.
But it's crazy when you can tell comics have a root in a lot of people's history, when like the death of Superman made the news, rocked the world, people were blown away. And then they did it again with what was it, the death of Captain America.
Captain America,
yep. So like it's crazy, every now and then you get a reminder that like some of these things matter, especially when big turns or moments happen.
Well, and like even so for me, I was really into Batman in the comic form for a very, very long time. So the whole Nightfall arc, where Bane breaks Batman's back, what they did in the third Christopher Nolan Batman movie, that was a huge deal for me. Like that was, that was for a lot of people. Was gigantic for me. Like Batman was laid low. Holy crap. But yeah, that's good stuff.
Yep. But to be fair, I don't know. I think a lot of the comic games, they've been like off and on. I actually almost bought, there's like the new Ultimate Alliance or whatever. But I think it's Switch only.
Yep, Switch only. I have it.
Do you? Is it good?
Okay, so All right. I tried to get my kids to play it because they were actually interested in it because of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. And I sat them down, and they're really like Lego game caliber of difficulty. Like the Lego Marvel Avengers games is like right in their sweet spot where it's just difficult enough to keep them amused and challenged, but not so difficult that they're BladeMartial dad throwing rage controllers. Ultimate Alliance 3, on the other hand, is no, that's a $300 Switch. You can't throw that controller. that's the entire console. Don't throw that. So like there've been a few times where I've had to come in and take over for them off of like the second or third levels. And I'm like, fuck, am I just really bad at this game, or is this shit really hard? Like it's definitely the Ultimate Alliance caliber of difficulty. But it is good. I did enjoy the game. I haven't completed it. But I bought all the DLC thinking that my kids were going to be hooked line and sinker, and then the kids just keep firing up like Mario Kart or Cars 3 Driven to Win, you know, instead of like the really good games. So
yeah, I almost snatched that up. I didn't even know about it until I just happened to see it at Best Buy the other day, and I was like, what?
It is good. It is very good. And if you can get it on sale, absolutely pick it up.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. All right.
Huh.
So then what do we do at this point? You want to go back to games since we got derailed hard?
I mean, yeah, sure.
All right.
I was out of games at this, like where we're getting at in terms of consoles is when I was getting hooked on web TV and eBay.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And I was still playing Road Rash 3D. And then I discovered Team Fortress Classic at a friend's house on PC, and I never looked back at consoles. Like they were nothing to me.
Yep. No, I think the transition into PC was, for me, life-changing as well. Consoles.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been very interested in consoles for, I don't know, years now. I only get them if they're like crazy cheap or if somebody I know is selling one or some shit.
Yeah.
So what was the transition to PC gaming though? What got you there?
Radio Shack. People are like, what the fuck's a Radio?
Yeah,
what's a Radio
is that
Shack?
still around?
Yeah, I went to a payphone and I called my brother. And I called Collect and I just left him a message, you know.
So Collect is when you would call 0 and you would actually have the recipient call take on the cost of that phone call.
Please leave your name. And then I was like, Mom, I'm at Tim's house. Pick me up at 9. Click.
Yep.
Do you accept a call from Mom, I'm at Tim's house? Pick me up at 9. Nope.
Yep.
And it was done. The hacks. No, I think like Xbox coming out, their big thing with Xbox, the first one, you can't deny or hide or get around it any other way. The only thing that put it up and put it on the map and made that company what well, besides the fact Microsoft, but like what made Xbox stand out was Halo.
Yeah.
I didn't play it, didn't care. It was too slow. And it was on console. I wasn't going to do a shooter with controllers, but Halo was the big jump for the console market in the terms of online FPS gaming. PC was already doing it from 95 and up with like Quake and then Half-Life. That was those were pretty much the two big ones. Unreal Tournament was like the trifecta on that, but I think PC, because we've had phases, right? You've had all your PC market's gone from them arena shooters and everything else early. That was like the big draw. And then after those, it went into this like EverQuest and MMO market became like this big boom. WoW put it on the map. And then all of a sudden it was League of Legends and you know, Heroes of New Earth and stuff. It turned into the MOBA market. And now we're on the BR market. It's like it goes in these big phases for years of like what's going to reign as the big draw. And console basically what's cool is that from the way I see it, is that they just see what's going hot and what's the big trend, and they just make like these individual titles for the consoles that are similar, but maybe play and handle a little bit differently. And you start to see these like giant changes in that bracket, and then all of a sudden we'll get another new takeover that'll hit the PC when a big AAA company says, well, look at all these great ideas and we just make this bigger game that's like, you know, like Overwatch. It was like, let's take the ideas of having like limited abilities and a super, like a MOBA, and an arena shooter, and, you know, a push cart and all, and, you know, unique characters. You get things like that from seeing all the other stuff change.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember Halo. I missed Halo 1. All the people I knew like got into Halo 1. For some reason, I didn't. I don't think I made an actual choice not to. I just didn't. I was into other things at the time. Halo 2, on the other hand, that hit hard where we were. I had moved out of my parents at that time. I was living with a friend, and he knew like 10 people that were like, we're good to go. We're all coming over this weekend with drinks, and we're linking up, and we're all going to do Halo. And that was like the first big multiplayer experience I ever had. You'd be yelling at the dude. We were just like at a fucking trailer, all fucking intoxicated all to hell, screaming at each other. Fuck you. Headshot me from that far away. And fucking, you're done.
Drinking Four Loko.
Stop screen jockeying, you son of a bitch.
Some wild turkey.
Yeah.
Oh man.
God. See, and like, I when I bought my original Xbox, mine came with Halo, and then I went out and bought Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, because I knew that like a Star Wars game was something that I was probably going to be interested in. And I played Halo about halfway through, and I was like, it's fun, it's okay. And then I plugged in KOTOR, and that I never went back to Halo after that. I was like, this is amazing.
KOTOR 2, I was big into. But I think a lot of those games, it matters if you have the people like to play with or not. Like Halo 1, I probably didn't get into because there just wasn't the environment actually around me for it. Halo 2, I probably would have skipped if I didn't have all those people coming over, you know, every weekend to play. And I feel like back then, for me, I didn't have easy access to online gaming with those things. I know like it was possible at that time to get, you know, Halo 2 online, but I didn't. So I feel like I was missing that huge turn on a lot of those games.
And this is what's weird, is that like when the original Xbox, I almost said Xbox One, when the original Xbox launched, I was already married. I was on my second marriage when the original Xbox launched. Like, and so now I'm kind of like scratching my head going, fuck, am I that old, or is it something else? Like, I'm that old. I think I'm that old.
There was a boom that happened. I mean, it was a lot of people. There was the console wars.
Yep.
And you know, you had your three winners. It was, well, basically it was it the three? It was, you had your Microsoft with Xbox, you had your Sony with PlayStation, you had Nintendo that came out. Those three were the ones that survived. Sega got chewed up multiple times over.
Yeah.
They just couldn't keep up.
At least they still
like
exist,
a saturation of it
in a way.
So they were turning out left and right, game after game, and just now we're seeing the systems are getting more like longer in between iterations and stuff, because it just gets oversaturated. People can't afford to jump. They don't want to jump from system to system.
Yeah.
So,
and the transition into PC, I don't think I'll ever get excited for a console again. I'm interested in like the news of like the new consoles that are coming out and everything. I like hearing what they're capable of doing, but I'm never like, oh, putting money aside, getting ready for that. Switch is complicated because Nintendo is so exclusive with all their shit.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little different. If they would just join the PC world, it'd be so much easier to play all these great games. But my initial transition into PC, I think, was I did a lot of Diablo 1. That was probably my first, like, playing with other people online. That random mix. Because before that, it was when I played online with people, I knew who I was playing online with. It'd be my friend. We were, joining up online. But that was the first, like, open world, not literally in-game, but socializing with all these people. And then it went into Diablo 2, which was like the one. The one that was like PC from here on out. I'm hooked.
Yeah. Yep.
These style games, the trading, the PvP, all of that I was just hooked.
I got your ear.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many ears.
Yeah. I got a mule account with just full of ears.
Yep. Fucking mules. I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. Mule 1, Mule 2, Mule 3.
That was the go-to game in between. Like I got into Team Fortress probably around 98, 97, 98. And I was really caught up in trying to get, I was working, going to school, saving money to go to Japan. So I was putting a lot of time in on the PC playing Team Fortress in between all of that. But I didn't get serious on it until I got back from Japan. And then I went like super hardcore into it, and there was really no other games that could touch like the adrenaline or whatever that I would get from playing the leagues and the tournaments and stuff with Team Fortress. So I wasn't really interested in anything else. But when I needed downtime, it was Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. That was, we're not practicing tonight. I'm going to play my Necromancer, my Fury Barb, and just chill. So that went on for years until WoW, and then I was like, now I know what addiction is. Like, holy shit.
That's bad.
So what was your guys' first MMO? Was yours WoW?
WoW. I hated EQ. I couldn't get into the graphics. I couldn't get into the way it just looked really fake and stupid.
Yeah.
At that time, I mean, you're talking late 90s. I was still going out and I was doing like extracurricular activities and more interested in other things and stuff. And my friends were sitting home eating candy, drinking soda and Doritos and stuff, and playing EverQuest. And I was like, a bunch of fucking nerds. Like, you're gonna roll your dice and add +3 to ogre slaying on your shit. Like, so I didn't appreciate it. Now I get it because I walked into that life willingly. But I'm like, holy God, like, wow. My buddy explained it to me and told me what was up. And it's like, you got to try to have early access for you, blah, blah, blah. Because one of the old guild masters he had from EverQuest is a developer on WoW. So there was an instant like, yeah, okay, I'll try it for free. Yeah, why not? And then that was a terrible decision.
What about you, Ark? What was your first MMO?
It'd probably have to be World of Warcraft, I think. I started really, really late, and the whole time he was talking, I was trying to figure out, like, I couldn't have just not played an MMO for that long, but I think it was the case. I think I was doing a lot of, like, Warcraft 3, Diablo 2, StarCraft 1, I think I was in that mix when I did game, and I kept refusing World of Warcraft because I kept looking at that game, kind of how Pow was talking about EverQuest. Kept looking at World of Warcraft like, nah, I'm not going to be like you guys. I'm not going to do it. And then eventually I did, and it was bad. Sucked me right in.
Mine was Ultima Online. I got hooked pretty hard on that. And then when Lord of the Rings Online came out, I stopped playing every other game just ceased to exist other than Lord of the Rings Online. I just played the living hell out of the Lord of the Rings Online. And then I had a LAN party at my house, and my buddy was like, I'm going to give everybody friend keys for World of Warcraft. And I'm like, nah, man, like, WoW is crap. I refuse to play WoW. La, da, da, da. And he's like, we're playing WoW for the LAN party. All right, fine. So everybody installs it. They bring everything over. I think we got to like level 9 or 10 together. And the original character that I rolled is still the main character that I play to this day in World of Warcraft. I've server and faction transferred him for
That's
15
commitment.
years.
Damn.
Yeah, my paladin is my OG character.
Ew. I sold mine $1,300.
Yeah, that was a
Ooh.
thing back then, huh? I forgot about that too.
My hunter was legit, and somebody offered up. We were in the same guild together. Their hunter was doing the same content, but I was just that much like better geared and organized out on my character. And I knew if I had his hunter, I could do it in a matter of a couple weeks. I could just have it right to where I wanted. So he was like, I'll give you my character and I'll give you like $1,200, $1,300 for yours. And I was like, sold. And go ahead and fast track that, and I will be happy to trade over. So we did. So I never lost a hunter, and I made a bunch of money. So
Nice.
fuck it,
Damn.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did they trade characters back then? Because now we're so used to everything being locked into accounts. How did we do that?
You could transfer into a new account. You had to pay for a new account. You had to prove like that you were the owner of it or whatever, like register it, and then you could just transfer it off to a new account.
I remember that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how things changed with that stuff. Wow.
Let's be honest, like people hate on WoW, like, and I see it as like it's just another way of like if people really like certain bands in metal and they get famous, and if everybody's like all of a sudden into fucking avocado toast and everything, there's always a bunch of people that are just gonna shitstorm all over everybody else's parade because they're like, I'm not gonna be part of the mold, I'm gonna be different, I'm gonna hate it just because you're all happy with it, like being different's cool. So they want to be the odd one out, and then they'll be the ones that complain that nobody, I'm not like everybody else. It's like, you go out of your way to be different. Like fucking
complain about being
WoW
different.
is great.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like, I mean, is it losing its umph after this many years? Fuck yeah. Like, what other games can you say are people still really like holding on to religiously at that high a volume after that many years? Like none. And if they did, like I've shown you the 4K videos that people did with the Unreal Engine remodel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I show that to you?
I've seen those, yeah.
Yeah,
they're
really
insane.
good.
And it's like, if they just had a team come in and they could relaunch like classic WoW. And if they'd have done it where it was all new graphics and a new layout and like not a new layout, but just a new updated graphics to fit like 2020, maybe the Plague Lands would be called COVID Lands or something, but like Section 19, but I think it would have gone like huge. It would revitalize it in a whole new way.
Yeah.
They just needed graphics, like a big facelift. So everything's there, but
and honestly,
it's not going to matter. Ash is going to come out and just.
Yeah, but I always hope that WoW will always
everything else.
I hope it'll always exist out there, because it's like with how long it's been out now, it's gonna be like we're gonna be old, man, and possibly be able to look back. No, I mean like really old, like really old.
Some of us are apparently already old. Come on, man.
It would be really cool to like still have that kicking around, to be like that nostalgia factor. Because like a lot of other games, it becomes to go back and play those really old games. Well, I guess you could do emulators, but it's not quite the same. But it'd just be cool to have that as an option for basically most of our lives. That's like one of the only games that's still, like, if you look through your game list, there's games dropping off, dying out, going away. Can't install, whether it's a good game or not. Games like Devilian. There's a couple others I was looking through my game list. They still sit there, but you can't install them. They're done.
Marvel Heroes Omega and WildStar are the two that make me shed a tear.
WildStar.
Mm-hmm. You had to bring those two up. Yeah. I was the Marvel Heroes 2016. I don't even want to call Omega part of Marvel Heroes because it was garbage. It was a desperate move by Gazillion to try to get console and push it. They needed to make that money, and unfortunately it just didn't take, because they had to destroy the core mechanics of how the characters were built. And it was like, I was pissed because it's a free to play game, but I had to pay money for every character I got.
Yep.
So you could play test the characters to like level 10. And if I liked it, I paid for it. But then you go back after it's been released and you change the core fundamentals of the design, the character no longer plays.
Small kid emergency. Be right back.
Yeah.
And it's like the I thought he said small kitten emergency. I'm like, oh, fuck. Save the kitten. I don't agree with that, and I tried to get a refund. It was like over $300-400 I had spent into a free to play game. I had like every character and stuff that I was happy with, and you know, a bunch of cosmetics and stuff, and it was like, that was amazing. I love that game, but they changed it. It ruined it. All the diehards were unhappy, so now you alienated out the people that were your core base that were still giving you money through that whole time. Now don't want to give you money, and you weren't getting any new players. They EA'd the shit out of it.
Yeah,
and it died. They had to close it, and if I remember correctly, they had a news article come out that year that they were getting ready to shut down and that the dates were going to close them out by December 3rd or some shit like that. And they never made it to that date, even because they had sexual assault charges or something brought on like one of the CEOs or head people at Gazillion. So Disney was like, they pulled it. They fucking yanked it. They were like, you no longer have rights. We're done. We're closing it down. Like, fucking out. And let's also point to the fact that David Brevik, who was in on Marvel Heroes, the year when he left at the beginning of 2016, the game died within the year. As soon as he left and went to Path of Exile, Marvel Heroes folded. They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It just shows like the ability of that man in the action RPG genre. He is not like, people write him off as like angry or whatever, but he is like, he is who he is.
Yeah,
you know, he hasn't made an action RPG. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and WildStar is just a fucking masterpiece. Honestly, on paper, against even games like World of Warcraft, it actually outplays it. It outdoes it. It has everything that World of Warcraft has and then some, and does it even better in almost every aspect. It's really pathetic. And everybody's like, well, how come it's dead then, pal? And it's like, what was the studio? NCSoft.
NCSoft,
That's all I gotta say. Is NCSoft is the one that fucking killed it. Terrible launch, multiple times on the terrible launch. They did the whole open servers up, spread players out crap. They didn't have a handle on how to release it and how to handle the servers, because the player base was fucking huge.
Yeah, I love that game.
We were rabid. The player base, we were rabid for something like that.
Mm-hmm. It was so good. So good.
The humor.
I miss my Chua.
All that. The fucking like metal music and the jokes and shit. Like, I always got a kick out of everything.
Hey, Cupcake, you leveled up.
Yeah. So good.
Chua Engineer, man, that was my go-to. I met a really big guild. There's this like huge community online, old-time gamers. And they're like across the board in everything. They have like factions or whatever inside their TeamSpeak server. At least back then they don't. They moved over to a Discord by now, maybe. But I mean, you had to apply. You had to be referred to get even an application, and then you had to be evaluated. And it was a huge process to even get in. They are massive community. And I got in with them on WildStar, and I got to experience like all the raid content. I met some great people, and once you get to do all that stuff, it changes that game for you like drastically.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the community or guilds that you get into can make or break a lot of games. I could play games that are typically shit, but like if you get like a good group of people, that could just change everything. But with WildStar, that was like a really fucking solid game as well. So,
and what's your favorite community you ever been part of in an MMO?
Ooh,
like your best time that you've ever had?
Oh, yeah, that's tough. I might say
I've had
Diablo
a lot
2.
of great experiences, but
so
Diablo 2, yeah. You don't know, Blade?
No, It's very bittersweet because the really high highs were usually met with low lows. The last major guild that I was in WoW, They're still around. They are still recruiting. They're still active. There was a big falling out with, I want to say, like a fifth of the entire leadership. And I left. I was one of the first few that left the community, and then a handful of others from the senior leadership left as well. And we all kind of reformed and changed servers and marched to the beat of our own drum. But I was with that community for about 2 years, and it was a very, very big part of my life, my daily life, for a couple of years. And that was a heartbreak moment for me, for sure. 2 years with a pretty standard group of folks, and that kind of weird animosity and drama. It's like, come on, people, it's a fucking game. Like, we're here to have fun together, not tear each other apart. So yeah, WoW was it for me, and that was the last guild that I was the last major guild that I was a part of was definitely it.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know. TFC's probably running a clan for as many years as I did in teams for that game. Like you said, a lot of highs and lows. My lows are really bad. Usually it resulted in mutiny. I don't know why. I was such a nice guy to everybody. But, no.
You guys smell that?
Yeah, right. No. It was definitely a different time frame. I couldn't say half the shit I would say to those people back then. People now would start crying and they'd fold right up. But for MMOs though, see, ArcAge, it wasn't as like the best time with a guild was and had like the longest stretch of just like awesomeness was when I was with SPQR in World of Warcraft. We took my guild Assimilation, and we had like all these people at work because I was at a casino, so I had access to hundreds, thousands of people. So I was like recruiting while I was at work to anybody that played WoW. Like, why the fuck not? So we had a lot of local people. We could all hang out, meet up. Well, you always have that one person that's like, gotta be different, and they didn't want to be part of it. They want to do their own guild. So I'm like, why don't we just all fucking join? I don't care about like the leadership thing. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm just playing a game. I want everybody to have a good time. So we combined up, took all my guys over, and we were really good, and we could raid push and stuff. And we had almost a good year of just like crushing content. We caught the guild up from like in the hundreds to like top 10 on the server. It was great.
Damn.
And then the jealousy started.
Oof.
And then I remember my buddies had their computer set up in my studio as well, so all three of us could raid together, and it was easy to communicate and handle like situations. And they're out in the studio, and I come out, got my dinner, sit down, and they're like, "You're getting kicked from the guild." And I was like, just keep eating my fucking food. I'm like, all right, whatever. I log in, they booted me, and I was like, watch what happens next. Next thing you know, the guild within a week implodes. And it was like, you did the wrong thing. It's like the highs are always high, but man, you got to watch out for those lows. And it all resulted over jealousy.
Man, that's rough.
So, and the fact that we had so many people that were real life friends involved in that, it was really weird and rough going into work, watching people like they giving stank eye and shit to each other, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna get good. So I feed that monkey for a while, and this dude was just that kicked me, tried to keep it like, I'm glad that we can be friends and not make this like personal. And I just sit and smile at him like, yep. I'm like, it's all good. You guys are the B team now. Kicked all the A players out. And yeah, about a week and a half or so, it folded up, and then he come squabbling over, apologizing. It's like, you were right, I was wrong. Blah blah blah. It's like, I told you. And then we moved on to ArcAge, so which is a baller of a game. Let's be honest.
I missed that one. I tried it one day. I don't know why I didn't go back, but I don't know. I think
it's not worth it now, but.
Yeah, I think there's just phases where an MMO can be great, but I'm just at a point where I'm like over an MMO. So like if I get burnt out with like World of Warcraft, there's a good chance, even if there's another MMO that's really good, I just can't do it. I need a moment to play other stuff or something. And I think
I can understand that.
I'm gonna call partial bullshit on that.
Yeah.
So Arcade is in and of itself, in the encapsulation of time, that it was the apex predator on that field. But Ashes of Creation is gonna make you like low T men commercial blue pill rock hard arc. Like, let's not beat around the bush hill.
I mean, yeah, I want it to. I want that to be the greatest thing I've ever played.
Yeah,
everybody wants Ashes to be good.
Yeah, I just hold back a little bit on that excitement because I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm learning. New World was yet another experience of that. We'll go from Wolcen to fucking New World.
I'm calling it the New World knock. Like, it's that reality check where we succumb to the hype and the marketing, and then all of a sudden we're like, fuck, this is not what we were hoping it was going to be. And so now there's that layer of reservation around Ashes of Creation, that it's not that we want it to be shit or incomplete, but it's that please don't fuck my dreams and hopes up. Like, that's where I think we're at with Ashes.
I have so much faith in Steven and the crew that he has, because like from what I've seen and everything, like, and knowing what's been promised, that Ashes of Creation is like a lot of the foundation of everything they've said is already done. The coding or the stuff is already there. They're just trying to like get it in and get it polished around that, and then build that world and fill it. And it's like, they're so, I don't think it's super ambitious. A lot of people are like, oh, everything they're saying is, no, I think a lot of companies are super fucking lazy. I think, and they've been lazy for years on giving us, because they want to sell it off in fucking DLC and content packs. And it's like, I think Steven's like, no, we can't. You have to, if you're going to bring an MMO to the table now, look at it realistically. You have to compete with everybody else that's out. And if you can't deliver enough content to compete with these other games, then people are going to look at it and be like, there's not much there. Because they're still, regardless of how stupid this is, they're looking at games like WoW, Final Fantasy, and other games that have been out for a while. And they're like, look at all this stuff's available. And it's like, well, they've been around for years. That does not matter. Yeah. You have to have enough content to equate out, to balance it. You're fighting for that title. You've got to come with it. So that's going to be their biggest challenge, just getting that level of stuff there. But I think he said, a month just to level to cap. And he said that's like that's an average of 6 to 8 hours a day. So that's, for most, they'll be under a month, but like that's a solid amount of time leveling. That's not even an easy push.
Well, especially if they make the leveling good. Like,
oh yeah.
If it's not, like World of Warcraft gets a little rough for me because leveling to end game isn't the most exciting thing in the world. So you're just constantly waiting to get there. Mm-hmm. But if they make like the leveling in itself an exciting thing, fuck it. Like, have it take months. I don't care. If it's fun, it's fun,
No, not months. No. Not patient enough for that. Nope.
I'm saying if it's fun.
Yeah. I was on board with you until you said months, and I was like, nope.
Oh, fuck it. You want hardcore? Like,
no. There's a different time. I do not equate hardcore and difficulty to me just sinking pointless hours into something to get there.
Yeah, but that's just why it would have to be good. I wouldn't say months of WoW quality leveling. Fuck that.
Well, I think I like the idea. What's the system they've got for the PvP system and the penalty system for harassment is like, it is fucking heavy-handed. You get, not only you're getting debuffed, so you're going to do less damage for being an asshole. You're going to get a marker on the map so people know where you are, and they get rewarded for coming to kill you. And you have a potential to lose the items you have. Oh, hell yeah. Bring that all day, because that griefing system is going to be like, you might get griefed, but it's not going to be like we saw in like vanilla WoW and shit, where people would just come along and camp you for, I want to level here. Now I can't,
Right.
So
you're experiencing
I think for those, those
penalty,
that missed out on the ArcAge boat, you're going to be like very shocked and surprised how much like the PvP aspect will change your feelings for the leveling system in an MMO. That 1 month time frame was 6 hours a day of like constant probably XP and leveling that he gave, not adding in the fact that there's going to be fights, there's going to be guild event things happening, there's going to be like all this other stuff is going to like change up that time frame and make it harder and more enjoyable and more sporadic. So like just knowing it from going through the motions with ArcAge when it first launched, like, and how that was, the politics between guilds is going to get heavy. People got to be ready, because if you don't like PvP, I would think it's safe to say to most people, like, then Ashes of Creation is it's going to have stuff for you. You're going to have to get your hands dirty or accept the fact that you might die. It's just going to happen.
And I think that's fine where they have the penalty system, because I don't think I hate PvP by any means, but in a lot of games, like when you think of the PvP, I get experiences of New World where it's like, oh, PvP means someone way higher level than me is going to camp me, like, or people are going to get in a big group and camp you. But if they nip that problem, then I could see PvP being really fun and actually adding to a lot of the enjoyment.
Watching the development stream that they did a few days ago, where they were talking about, or they were showing video of moving trade transports,
caravans,
yeah. Like I'm not a PvP person, and watching that, I was like, that's pretty badass. Like I would sign up to do that, either attacking or defending. I would
say that.
Yeah, I say it, and then I'll do it 3 times and then break my $150 mechanical keyboard and then have to go buy a $10 shit keyboard to keep playing the game.
That's $35 on mine. That's it. That's the most expensive keyboard I've ever bought, because I know how this could go, but I've never hit this one. I think once I get past that Walmart $10 Logitech one they have, I stop hitting them. Because those ones I just pick up and I'll just crack them. And I'm like, I used to have a box next to my desk for league matches. Occasionally I would be drinking too, and I would spill some beverages on my keyboards. And in the heat of battle, you got a quick swap, you know?
Like I'm not kidding. Like Mrs. Blade, legit, this was 7 or 8 years ago, was like, you need to stop breaking keyboards. Like you really need to stop breaking keyboards. Anytime you break a keyboard, I'm going to give you a $5 budget. And you have to go buy a new keyboard with only $5. And I'm like, all right, I'll stop breaking keyboards. I'm sorry.
Come home with that little rubber rollout one. That, like,
oh, God.
Oh, Jesus. That'd be terrible. I actually picked up, I had one of the original Logitech, like G something wireless mouse. And I was in the middle of a league match and I got fucking heated. And I picked it up and literally just pulled it right apart. And I just looked at my buddy. I was like, we need to go to Walmart right now. He's like, why would you do that? I'm like, you're driving. I'm drunk. Don't worry. It's mad right now.
Yeah, like I'll buy if you fly. Let's do this.
It's pretty much, yeah. But no, I think as we get to like Alpha 1, I think with Ashes should be starting up. Like it's gonna happen before the end of the year. Like I thought they were calling for September that they were going to start that, and the way the promotion's been going on around it, I don't think Steven's building hype for no reason, because there is no NDA on their Alpha 1. He's not stupid. The he's a businessman, so he knows what he's doing, and I don't even see it as hype, really. Like he's not putting out trailers hyping the game. He's not showing us just CGI. I mean, it is an E3. We're not getting just CGI hype.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually showing us like every week transparency of like, here's what we got. And then he's like, oh, this is broken still. We haven't fixed this yet. Oh, this is what we're trying to show you today. And it's like, I fucking love it. You know, we got Crowfall. We're how many years in? I mean, I've sat with them and I've Thomas Blair, I've sat and interviewed him for Crowfall and everything. And it's like,
damn,
we're still waiting. I mean, they're getting close. They are starting to build I think they're starting to feel the heat. But now I'm starting to look at Crowfall and I'm like, it doesn't look as good as it did 4 years ago. Like the graphics, the style. I love stylized graphics. I play WoW, played WildStar. I mean, even WildStar looks better now than what Crowfall looks. Like the polish or something. It's just not, I don't know what it is about it. I'm like, I got a lot of money into that game, like 300 plus, and I don't even have any ambition to play it.
Shit.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm still probably going to throw my hat into it, but I don't feel like it's going to have to be really special to hook me.
Yeah.
Ashes has got me hooked. I've played both. Played Ashes in 2017 at PAX East, and it's what I wanted. That's all I can say. Like, that's the best thing. We all look at an MMO and we're like, I want it to be what I'm hoping for. And it's like, I walked by a screen and I was like, what the fuck is this? And it stopped me dead in my tracks, and I made it a mission to get into that booth. And they actually bumped people out just to get me in to play. And it was amazing. Even then, just this little test demo. I mean, like, I don't know how much you guys know about, like, say, the mechanics of your character in that game, but like the environment itself, like your healer can do stuff, say, as an example, like there's poison toxin on the ground in an area, and that's like a different route in a dungeon or something. And the healer can cleanse that out of the area with some spells, and only this specific healer can do it. So now the group can go that way. Whereas generally, like, maybe they can't with a different healer in the group, so they got to go the other way. So it changes up the dynamics. So everybody has environmental reactive stuff and things like that, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I like when they think outside the box with things like that. And I don't know, it's crazy. Just from like the things I've seen so far, it seems, not that I'm out to fucking bash New World or anything, but like so far, if Ashes were to release, like with the things they've shown so far, it feels like they've already put 100 times more depth into everything in game, whether it's skills, combos, the way you build your character, all this shit. And I look at it and I go, how the fuck are they that far ahead in all this? And how the fuck is New World so far behind?
And they rewrote the coding. It put them back a whole year. They had to rewrite coding for the game because of things that changed in the back end. So they're a year behind on what they had already previously had set, and they're looking that good.
Yeah,
but I know you won't. Let's talk about New World. I'll go there. Oh,
yeah. I'm just more and more, even not playing the game, I find myself getting more and more frustrated with it. I was playing fucking Craftopia last night, and I'm looking around going, wait a second, this game has more monster like types in this game right now than New World did as a whole. What the fuck is going on?
How many hands can you hold up, Pow, for the amount of things that you liked about New World? So like,
just
is it
the
like
graphics. I bet it was
there,
just that.
Is it
graphics, sound?
Is it 2 hands or is it 1 hand still?
That's it. I like the graphics and I like the sound.
Yeah.
I could, if you want me to start demolishing that, I will. I'll go all out.
You missed the opportunity to do that last time we talked about it. So you know what, dude?
Oh, I wasn't invited to the show?
Well, we didn't actually realize you had much opinion on the game. And then afterwards I was like, fuck, he has a lot of opinions on this game. So have the floor.
It's not a beta. It's not a beta. Straight up, like anybody that uses the argument of like, I look at it from 2 different perspectives on this, as I normally do, which is why a lot of people like to listen to me bullshit. One, a lot of people that are enjoying it are generally they're avid gamers, but they're not like hardcore. They're not like, that's not what they spend all their time doing. It's something they like to just maybe once in a while sit down and relax and enjoy. What does that look like to me? Seeing how they're playing the game and enjoying what they're enjoying, it looks like they're playing Skyrim. It looks like they're playing a single player game, and they're just kind of doing fun things, and they're enjoying the graphics and everything about it and some of the stuff that's available. very much looks like a single player, like Skyrim type game. Which I hated Skyrim and Oblivion and all them. So fucking flame on if you want, but they sucked. I couldn't kill children. I didn't like it. Moving on. So the other side is they were falling on it's a beta, so it's not done yet. And it's like, well, they've had 2 release dates. That beta's meant for bug testing, finalizing and bug testing, not we need to add fucking entire sections of content to the game,
right?
Or entire ability trees and skill sets and weapons and things like that. Like just whole chunks of the game they're not there. And if they didn't want them there to begin with, I'm sorry, the game's not going to do well. It's going to last maybe a month with a niche group, and then it's going to fold up. There's no cash cow there.
Yeah.
They're wasting their time. So
I don't know, man. The one quest type really did it for me.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Over and over and over again.
I'll be right back in just like 1 minute. Keep going. I can hear it.
Killing looked boring.
Yeah. Like one of the things that we talked about on the last streaming synergy was the fact that the numbers, the math behind the game engine is just nonsensical at this point. Like, there's the damage that you're doing as a melee character is roughly the same from level 1 to about 25 or so. I mean, you might go from 300 points of damage to 315 points of damage, but you're still roughly doing about 300 damage every time you hit something. And the amount of materials that you need in order to craft anything is ridiculous. And then you have to craft 400 of one item in order to get enough experience in crafting just to make the next tier of that next something, which brings your damage from 315 to 330. Like, so it's like, how is this gonna give me a sense or what's the word I'm looking for? Like the gating of progression. Like there was just so much that was so not well done or completely missing from the game at that point. But yeah, it was not, and still is not, what we had hoped it would be.
A complete game.
Yeah.
Like straight up, I don't know, something about it just, I was excited when I first heard about it, and I was like, oh, this will be interesting. Here's a new, something new. And then as it got closer and I wasn't seeing any information, nothing was coming out. There was an NDA on there, like for the one for April launch.
Yep.
They still were holding a fucking NDA on it.
Yep.
And it's like, why? If you're ready to launch, no one's going to build a fucking MMO and steal your ideas in the next few weeks.
Right.
And the reason why was because they knew they didn't have anything. And I'm like, how long did they work on that game? Do we know? I'm going to Google that. I want to know how long their development was on New World, because most MMOs at this point, a baseline, you're minimum 5 years of development.
So from what I've been able to gather, it's looking like roughly 3 to 4, probably closer to the 4 to 5 range. But they've been very hush-hush about their development life cycle. Even to this day, like there's really the only information that's out there is like game journalist articles that are, mentioning, hey, met with Amazon's closed door new MMO.
I heard the team behind making it too is the ones that are behind Lord of the Rings, the new Lord of the Rings. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. It's the same team that's going to develop both. So that could be
like, are they splitting the team, or are they giving up on New World and then shifting gears to Lord of the Rings?
By the way it sounded was like when they were done with New World, they were moving over to Lord of the Rings, but because I didn't know Lord of the Rings was even being remade or anything like that, so I have no idea how far they've been at that, if at all.
Where's the Ask Jeeves? Jesus.
You need the little paperclip to pop up on your screen. Hi, how can I help you?
Looks like you're writing a ransom note. You should use harsher language. You'll get more money that way.
Yeah, I feel like with New World, they would need twice the amount of everything they have. Twice the weapons, twice the combat animations, twice the level progression to be considered a beta. Like, that's how lacking I think they are. Severely.
I don't think they can do enough in a year.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, they need Bezos' money.
3 more, like, or they need the best of the best to be paid a lot to come in with a lot of fucking band-aids. Because it's just like,
no, like
you can't band-aid that.
Division 1 launched basically without any real end game, and it took them 3 major patches before the game was even close to being revivable, and then it was another 2 patches before the game was fun. So I mean,
they had one patch that broke and ruined it for like everybody. It was like terrible, and then they came back with like the underground system and a bunch of shit, which really ramped it up. And then their last year and a half with the weekly the event, like the toxic stuff, whatever the fuck.
It wasn't Invasion, it was something. What did they call it? Like Invasion is what Division 2 calls it, but
they give you all those affixes to go run, and
that's gonna bother me.
That was fucking awesome. I couldn't get enough of that. I was like, this game is so much better. Like, I didn't touch it for 3 years. I come back and I'm like, what did they do to Division? Holy shit, this is great. And then Division 2 launches, and it was the same
global events. That's what they were calling them.
Yeah, it was the same shit. I was like, how do you get yourself out of the fucking hole on one game and then launch another one, which has honestly, Division 2 launched, it was fucking phenomenal still. The content and everything there was definitely a big package. But it starts to fall off, and they were having a lot of bugs and issues, and it's like, I don't understand why they have so many. You look at Destiny 2, and like, I don't know everything about the game, and I'm fairly newer to it, but just even knowing like how long I was with Division and coming new into Destiny 2 for what, 2-3 months now, almost 3 months, like how drastically different the two are in the same genre. And I'm not talking like sci-fi versus realism. I'm talking like developer side, like one working really well, and fucking raids and content. I did raids in the first 2 weeks on Destiny 2. I've yet to touch a raid in Division. And it's like, there's something, there's a disconnect somewhere. They just don't have it nailed down. And it's like, they have the game for it. They really do.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with the
bridge that gap.
That's one thing too, like from the Division 1 and 2, same thing with going from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. It's weird how the sequels can make the same mistakes that the prequels made and then corrected, but then they'll make the mistake again. Like with Destiny 2 or Destiny 1 had a lot of issues, but they evolved into like this big amazing game. Then when Destiny 2 came out, it was like they started over with all the same problems and had to relearn the same exact mistakes before they fixed it and got it to like a good place. And that's something that blows my fucking mind.
You know what? I see that as the WoW issue. I think Asmon's covered it, and other people too. This is the concept of like, the company wants you to have something, whether you want to have it or not. Like, all the players are complaining about something. They're like, we want Pepsi. And Blizzard will come in and be like, all right, hey, we got you some Coca-Cola. And everybody's like, we didn't want Coca-Cola. And they're like, hey, it's still soda. And it's like, no, we wanted fucking Pepsi. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what's a lot of these companies do is like, well, they don't want to quite give you what you want. They want to give you what they want to give you because they're trying to push an agenda for their own sake of like a business model that their higher ups are saying, this is what we want out of you as developers. So these guys are trying to meet those standards and meet us. And it's like, I feel bad for those people because they're in the middle ground. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to pay for a Coke. I wanted to pay for a Pepsi. So I'm going to keep my fucking money.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, now that you mention it, it makes sense. And also EA was in control of Destiny 2's launch. So I'll let them have some of that.
You mean Activision?
Oh yeah, Activision. Yeah. Sorry, they're both so equally evil that I confused the two.
Evil.
Top of the fucking line.
Fruits of the devil.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Ubisoft is not without its own.
Oh, they're fucking doing just as bad too.
Ubisoft is. They do not look in the mirror ever.
They're all doing it. It's like all these big companies got a lot of shit thrown in the last year. COVID did a lot of good on exposing shit. So.
Yes.
So much everywhere, yeah.
Everybody's got to be watching their backs and these higher ups in the companies. All the exposure on information and outings of people.
Well, stop doing illegal and horrible shit to people. Like that's really the simplest solution here. It's not don't get caught. It's stop being a raging dick. Like that's really.
Yep.
It's fucking
pretty
truth.
much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, I've been affected by some horrible shit, you know, it is what it is. I don't know. The companies, like, it was fun to see that video when they announced that the team for Destiny was breaking off and no longer under Activision, and seeing the video of The Office, somebody took a camera phone or something and recorded everybody fucking cheering and clapping and just like hugging each other. And it's like, holy shit, how oppressive is it there? I was looking for an Auschwitz sign somewhere in the room. Like, you know, they to celebrate that hard when you're working under one of the biggest companies that you're no longer going to be working for them. That's really truth telling.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And by the sounds of it, there's a lot of companies that are in that situation as well. All the shit that constantly going on with like Blizzard these days and everything. Fucking unreal.
I think it's going to, I mean, it stems over even to streaming. Like we saw with Mixer and everything. And now you've got all these different sites coming up, because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, it's saturated and I'm not cut out to be a streamer, but I'm cut out to code and make a website. And if I make a site, I can get people on there that are cut out for streaming that'll make money for me. So like all these people are making these sites and these pop-up like streaming services. Some of these companies are putting some money out there because they see it as like, there's the pie, right? The pie is now the streaming culture. That's the new big thing. And everybody wants to get a slice of that pie and make a cut of money. So it's like, well, now we're going to have platform wars. It's like, so who's good? Who's got a good deal? Who doesn't have a good deal? None of them, like most of them aren't going to last long. And if they do, they'll be like so small, no one will even know what they are.
Right.
And it's like, I tell people, don't hate on it. Like, don't be like, some people, your friends are probably even going to go, I'm going to stream on different sites and stuff, because why? You have Twitch that's oversaturated. And the best thing you can do for yourself is getting your name out there as much as possible. So if you go to a new site that actually has a little bit of hype behind it that pops up, even if you don't plan on staying there, and you stay for, you know, a couple weeks just streaming along, and you get X amount of viewers hanging out and they're noticing you and they know you're coming back to Twitch or to YouTube or wherever your home base is, they might follow you. So now you're gaining in that regard either way. You're not there for the payout or the cut. You're there for the enjoyment of the streaming and actually trying to gain more attention to your name and your brand, if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think honestly a lot of people have to try something different, try multiple sites, going somewhere like, I don't know, fucking Trovo, I guess, or Brime if you really want to be seen. Even if you go over to these places and you only attract a couple people, that's a couple people that you can make an impression on and potentially pull to whatever you're doing, whether it's YouTube or Twitch, Facebook, or whatever. So I think it's a good idea. Twitch is super incredibly saturated. You have to like pull off a little bit of magic blended with that skill to really get anywhere. And yeah, and it's interesting though seeing the different types of attempts that the other platforms are making. Like you have Facebook trying to do like the 100% payout on their subscriptions. And then like Trovo,
yeah, it's cute.
Trovo's trying to make it almost like a job Like if you meet this amount of viewership, you make this much money every month. Yeah, but it's just interesting to see different little ideas on it, I guess. Because, I don't know, part of me thinks it would be kind of cool if you hit like a certain level where you just like earned a baseline paycheck until you got to like a certain point or something. The idea is interesting. I don't know if it'd really work or anything.
Well, the idea, like, with the whole, what's when you just said, Facebook. Facebook's killing it. They're doing good. A lot of streamers that went there doing great.
Yeah.
And hats off to everybody that I know, even ones that were not friends of mine or acquaintances. Some of them I know hated my fucking guts and blocked me even. Which I don't know why. I've been nice to everybody.
Why do we all smile and laugh at these comments?
I smell it again. Where is that coming
I've
from?
never said anything. I never made a personal attack or said anything harmful. But, truth fucking hurts, and I hurt people's egos because I'll come at them the way I see it. So hats off to all of them that succeeded with it or doing well. But like the 100% payout thing, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm doing a budget and I'm working my job and all of a sudden my boss says like I'm no longer going to be having taxes taken out or anything taken out, I get everything and all my pay. You know what happens after so many weeks of that happening is you start to buy extra shit and you're like, well, it's only like a little, it gets easier and easier for you to shrug it off as like, well, I got a little bit of extra money now, instead of like going, wait a minute, in a year they're going to 50% this immediately. Like, so now they're taking half of my paycheck out. So I'm going to go back to making half of what I'm earning. And you get used to that budget of having that full paycheck. And then in a year it disappears. You're going to be way too comfortable and you're going to be upset. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be like, what the fuck just happened? So if I was making $1,000, I'm now making $500 a month. That's a big cut. That's rough.
I can see that's
going to hurt. Too. And this happened on Mixer when they told everybody the Sparks were monetized. They said, hey, this isn't going to happen forever. This is a promotional thing, a small little event. And we saw all the fucking hungries, thirsty bitches come out and be like, oh, Sparks, creating like fake accounts and bot farming the Sparks, making tons of cash. I mean, people were making thousands of dollars. They were bloodletting money, basically. And they let it go for like 6 months. And when they pulled that shit, it was almost like, for some, it was like they didn't even want to stream anymore. They went from like actually making, I can sit and live on this. Some of them quit their job, full stream, full time on something that was a noted, hey, this isn't going to last. This is an event, you know? And I just see the same bullshit happening with Facebook. I'm sure some of their higher ups that they see raking it in, they're going to offer maybe deals to them and stuff because they're the ones bringing in the numbers, but the rest are going to fall flat. It's going to get ugly. And then you're going to see the hate. Mark my words, in a year, September to September, this time next year, you're going to see the Twitterverse, if it's there, whatever's the new one, people posting how much they're not making their funds and they're pissed and they took their money away. And it's like, I told you so. Fucking told you so. I told us so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I want them to do something good because I feel like Twitch needs competition to whip them into better shape. Without competition, I feel like Twitch is just gonna maintain what it's doing for.
Oh, they got
ever.
it.
Yeah. So
they have it. YouTube and Facebook are straight competition to them.
Yep. YouTube.
100%.
I still think YouTube. I think it's all gonna go there one day. I just don't know when it's gonna be. But I think that's going to be a hell of a battle.
It depends. I mean, we'll see what Elon Musk does with the satellites up in space, you know?
The new Elon Musk platform.
He's working with that Amazon.
Fresh everything.
That streaming service.
Yeah. Or the new Spotify.
I want a streaming service called like Muskie. Something.
Muskie.
That's necessary.
Muskie Gamer Haven, you know?
It's a combination of Doritos, Old Spice, and Red Bull.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Man.
We'll see how it goes in the future. But yeah, on that note, guys, I guess you guys ready to wrap it up?
I never.
What's your guys' current all-time top favorite game?
God. Okay, yeah, we'll leave off with an impossible question.
Yeah. How's it feel, Arcblight? Huh? How does it feel?
I give you questions that are just hard to put into words, but you'll have a mindset. Favorite game, that's a different thing altogether.
Twister. Under the right circumstances, you can't go wrong. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you still can't go very wrong.
I said in the right
circumstances.
No.
You've clearly never pulled a hammy or blown out an L4.
Oh man, end up on the fail army. Jesus.
I'm doing a split.
But yeah. So thank you two for joining me.
Hell yeah.
Always a pleasure. And for everybody else, let's get some locations. Where can we find you guys? Blade, where can people find you?
I am at BladeMartial on Twitter and at TheBladeMartial on Twitch.
TheBladeMartial. So what plans do you have for streaming? I saw you playing the Division 2 earlier. I thought you were doing the Late to the Game series. Are you still pursuing that?
That was me. And no.
Yeah. No, you quit?
No.
You quit?
No, I quit because my actual career work has been kicking my butt lately. So getting a consistent streaming up is a little bit rough the last couple of weeks, but I'd love to come back to it. I have a nice little armada of games queued up that I gotta swing around and start actually playing. I just picked up Witcher 3, the complete edition on Steam a couple of days ago, and I already own it for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Jesus. You want me to play it at this point?
I've played like 30 minutes 6 different times on the game, but I take such a long break to come back to it that when I fire it up, I'm like, I have no fucking clue how to play this game. I gotta have to restart it again. So
yeah, it is like just complicated enough of a game to feel that way too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what about you, PoWWarPig? Where can people find you?
Division after the cast.
Play some Division.
You want to run something? You want to play something, Blade?
I'll play something. What do you want to play?
All right.
You want to play Twister? You want to play Twister?
No. You can find me everywhere at PoWWarPig or twitch.tv/PoWWarPig. And I'm just playing Destiny 2 Division. I think Diabolical is out now. It's free to play. So I'm updated on that on the Epic Store. I'll be playing some of that. And Tuesday is Minecraft Dungeons new DLC. So I'll be getting that on the Switch and playing that.
Oh shit, that's quick.
Mm-hmm. Lots of stuff. They're adding vendors and everything else to it. Upgrade your weapons, trading weapons, or trading loot, I should say. Oh yeah, they're adding a lot.
That's going to change everything.
Oh, they've definitely been upping it to a more depth. And there's going to be a daily questing system to it to kind of like reward you for playing. So it's a little carrot on a stick.
That actually sounds like quite the bit for an update. That's exciting as all hell, yeah.
I might bite on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Pow, you do the podcast thing quite often. You got any plans in the works for that? Anything coming up?
Coffee. Morning coffee power for the most part, 8 a.m. Eastern. They probably won't be as long as normal because now I'm homeschooling. So tomorrow will be my first day of kind of like trying to get myself situated and get a rhythm going and organized. I got a couple days before we officially have to before school officially starts. But I wanted to kind of just get in and organize a rhythm so I can work it into a routine daily to be able to still function and stream and deal with the kiddos, because I do have the baby to deal with as well on top of it. So, but yeah, just 8 a.m. in the morning and usually live by 9 o'clock at night. Nighttime is game time. Morning is talk show. So
hell yeah, man. Yeah, I know every time I wake up early enough, within the first 10 minutes of waking up, I always have to like triple check the clock to see, do I have enough time to catch Pow's stream? But I also, sadly, I get equally excited because if I miss it, that means I get to start it right from the beginning of the VOD and just go with the whole course instead of jumping in late. So either way, super exciting. But yeah, with that, seriously, thank you both for joining me. Awesome to talk to you guys. Always awesome to game with you guys. Game plan, we're going to shoot for next Sunday, Blade?
That's the goal.
All right, so we'll stick with the goal. And Pow, open invitation to you at all times. Anytime you want to join us, feel free, sir. Always a pleasure.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And with that, I hope everybody has a good night. Till next time.
Don't tell me what to do. I will have whatever kind of night I want to have, Arc.